Okay, so let's continue our topic of diffusion process. Okay, so let us first look into how does your concentration versus depth curves look like for diffusion and ion implantation. Okay, so what happens is that in case of diffusion, if you see uh, at the top of the surface from where you start diffusing or where your diffusion your material for diffusion was present, for example phosphorus-silica glass. Okay, you will see that at this point you will have a large concentration of dopant. Okay, so concentration of dopant is represented as C. Okay, so C is your dopant per unit volume. Okay, dopant atoms per unit volume. Okay, so this is your concentration C. Okay, dopant concentration C. Okay, so you will see that your dopant concentration is larger at the surface. Okay, and as we move down from surface to the deeper distances, what happens? Your dopant concentration will be smaller. Okay, ठीक है नहीं? So as you go deeper in the substrate, the dopant concentration will be lower. Okay, and you know that diffusion process basically happens from larger concentration to smaller concentration. Okay, so if you allow for the diffusion, sufficient temperature is there, then what happens that from large concentration area, dopants will keep on diffusing towards the small concentration area. Okay, but at any moment if you look at the curve, okay, and the curve between concentration of dopant with respect to the depth x, okay, that is the distance of the point where you are, for example if you are measuring dopant concentration here, okay, then this is the distance from surface. Okay, which we say depth. Okay, so if this is a as you know it is a variable, and let's define this variable as x. Okay, so this you can see here we have got a log of C versus x curve. Okay, so you can see that this kind of curve you will get. Okay, so you will see that concentration is maximum at surface. Okay, at the surface concentration is maximum. Okay, and by surface we mean x is equal to 0. Okay, so this is the case for diffusion. We can have another method of doping, okay, which is called as ion implantation. Okay, in ion implantation, which this topic will be discussing in detail, but for now you can understand it this way that basically we have ions which are accelerated and given sufficient kinetic energy such that they can penetrate into the surface of the silicon or semiconductor, and they can basically reach the depth which where we want those ions to be present. Okay, so for example you see that in this example diagram, you see that here in this area your ion concentration or dopant concentration is very large, okay, compared to other places around it. Okay, so basically what we have done is that we have uh, applied dopant ions with such a velocity or energy value, means energy of those ions is such that when they penetrate the surface, they basically slowly, means gradually they slow down, and after traveling some distance inside the substrate, they stop. Okay, so more or less, most of the ions are stopping at this depth. Okay, so you will, so we see that at this depth, okay, the ion concentration is maximum, the dopant concentration is maximum. Okay, so for ion implantation, if we look at the concentration versus depth curve, so you will see that we can have a, maximum concentration C, okay, at which is not necessarily x is equal to 0. Okay, means it is not necessary that this concentration be maximum at x is equal to 0. Okay, so we can basically means what is important here is that we can change the energy of ions to change where we want maximum dopant concentration inside the substrate. Okay, so we can control the depth. Okay, so this is one important point about ion implantation process. Okay, and second is with this diagram we have learned that how the concentration versus depth curves look like, and how the pictorially we can visualize the ion dopant distribution in the substrate. Okay. Okay, so in last class we had discussed diffusion setup. In that we were uh, discussing how we can have different dopant sources. Okay, so sources can be in solid form. Okay, and sources can even be liquid form. Okay, we can have liquid sources, and also there are gaseous sources for dopants. Okay, if you look at solid sources, we have Bn for boron. Okay, arsenic oxide for doping the arsenic, P2O5 for phosphorus. In liquid, if you want to dope boron, we can have this boron tribromide. Okay, similarly for doping arsenic, we have arsenic trichloride. Okay, and then this phosphoric chloride POCl3, like we used for phosphorus doping. Similarly for arsenic, we can use ASCl3. For boron doping, we can use boron tribromide. Okay. So this way we have a range of sources available, dopant sources available for the purpose of doping. Okay. Okay. Now let us look into the Fick's laws for diffusion. Okay. So these are like we have discussed diffusion in PN junction theory also. Okay, but let's revisit some fundamentals here again. Okay. So, for understanding, for mathematically modeling the phenomena of diffusion uh, of dopants, okay, okay. First, we should know that we have a quantity called as flux F. Okay, so this F, the flux of dopants, is defined as the number of dopant atoms, okay, passing through a unit area. Okay, unit area in a unit time. Okay, so this is basically number of dopants, okay, number of dopants, okay, per unit area and time. Okay, this is how your flux is defined. F is equal to number of dopant passing a unit cross section area in unit time. Okay, and then we have other quantity which is dopant concentration, which I already defined. Okay, C is dopant concentration, which is basically number of dopants in unit volume. Okay, so there are different diffusion possibilities. Okay, like vacancy diffusion, interstitial diffusion, okay, intersti- uh, interstitial diffusion. Okay, so these different mechanisms you may look into. Okay, you go through the textbooks. Okay, now we will move to the we will move forward to this important equation. Okay, so this equation is basically called as Fick's first law. Okay, this is called as Fick's first law. Okay, Fick's first law. What it says is that flux of dopant, okay, that flux of dopant, okay, is proportional to the concentration gradient. Okay, so concentration gradient, we know that concentration gradient is del C by del X. Okay, so the flux is basically your amount number of dopant atoms which are crossing a cross section, a unit cross section area in unit time. Okay, so this flux is basically proportional to del C by del X with minus sign. Okay, why we have minus sign? Because this diffusion will happen from larger concentration to lower concentration, and then we have a proportionality constant called as diffusivity or diffusion constant, capital D. Okay, so so this is your Fick's first law. Okay, similarly we have another condition. When diffusion happens, we know that even then the law of mass conservation uh, hold true. Okay, so what it means is that you don't have dopants getting created in a volume. So whatever dopants get in the volume, and then uh, some dopants are leaving the volume. Okay, so the change in dopant concentration inside a given volume will be basically equal to difference of the outgoing dopant minus the incoming dopants. Okay, so there will be this kind of conservation of dopants. Okay, what it means that whatever is the difference between the outgoing and incoming dopants. Okay, so that difference basically gets added to the concentration inside that volume. Okay, so if you write expression for that. Okay, so what how we write it, that change in concentration, okay, is basically equal to the gradient of flux. Okay, so change in concentration is equal to gradient in flux. Okay, so with minus sign. Okay, and when you place Fick's first law in this equation, okay, so we get another equation. Okay, another equation which is called as Fick's second law. Fick's second law. Okay, okay, so this is another important equation. Okay, so this Fick's second law is useful in calculating the dopant versus depth profile in semiconductors. Okay, for different conditions, which we will discuss in a minute. Okay, so let me save this screen and let us go to the next uh, page. Okay, so you basically have to keep these equations in mind, and you have to learn their derivation well, and understand what are the physical implication of these diffusion equations given by Fick's. Okay. Then also there is an important dependence between temperature and the diffusion constants. Okay, so diffusion constants or diffusivity, basically this D, constant of diffusion, or we call it as diffusivity, is basically dependent on temperature and the activation energy EA. Okay, okay. So this activation energy, basically it depends on the type of dopant, and it will depend on size and weight of that dopant. Okay, and and the medium in which your where that dopant is going to diffuse. Okay, so all those environmental factors also determine what is the effective activation energy. But this exponential dependence on temperature is very important. Okay, so we see that as temperature increases, okay, this D decreases. Okay, this D decreases exponentially with increasing temperature. Okay, so okay, so with this we move. This we have to keep in mind. Okay, so next is how to estimate diffusion profiles. Okay, so when we estimate diffusion profiles, so basically we we look into two type of conditions. Okay, so one is condition when we have like pre-deposition happening. Okay, in pre-deposition, what happens that your dopant source of dopant is always present at the surface. Okay, if you could recall what we discussed in last class. Okay, so in that we had said that okay, this is our substrate where we want doping to take place. Okay, and then we have got our dopant source. Okay, means example can be that this is silicon. Okay, and this part is our phosphosilica glass. Okay, so what is happening that we assume that as the diffusion takes place from phosphorus silica glass to the silicon substrate. Okay, so phosphorus dopants will keep on reaching the silicon, but uh, the number of phosphorus atoms in this source or this phosphorus silica glass are so large. Okay, that we can assume that there is no change in number of the phosphorus dopants on the this top layer of phosphorus silica glass. Okay, so when we are in this situation, when our source of diffusion is constant. Okay, so that time we term it as constant source diffusion. We term it as constant source diffusion. Okay, okay, okay. So for constant source diffusion, okay, so we have initial conditions like at t is equal to 0. What is the condition? Okay, at t is equal to 0. Okay, condition is like this. Okay, what it means is that cx comma 0 is equal to 0. What it means that at every depth at t is equal to 0, concentration is 0. Okay, so we assume that before we started the this pre-deposition step, okay, there was no phosphorus in the silicon. Okay, okay, then there is another boundary condition that at c at x is equal to 0. This is x is equal to 0. Okay, c at x is equal to 0. Okay, for all t means all the time. Okay, for every time value. Okay, there is no change in dopant concentration at the top. Okay, at this surface. Okay, there is no change in phosphorus concentration. Why no change? Basically, when there is the diffusion happening, this phosphorus silica glass has so many phosphorus that it can maintain the supply at the top. Okay, and at the surface, therefore, we have a constant dopant concentration. Okay, so this means that with time, as we allow diffusion to take place, there is no change in surface concentration, dopant concentration at the surface. Okay, so this is the second boundary condition. Okay, so when we apply these two boundary conditions to our second law, fixed diffusion law. Okay, okay. Uh, when we apply these boundary conditions and solve our fixed diffusion law, okay, so we get a air function. Okay, okay, and this complementary air function is basically a mathematical solution for the fixed diffusion law with the applicable boundary conditions. Okay, so boundary conditions, as we have discussed, that one is that your doping concentration at surface is always constant, which is defined as CS. Okay, and then uh, another boundary condition you may notice that your C at infinity comma t, that all for all values of t at c is equal to infinity, this concentration is zero. Okay, which is practically true. Okay, okay. So when we solve fixed diffusion law, so we get a complementary error function. Okay, and this basically gives us the value of concentration. Okay, as a function of depth x and time t in terms of dopant concentration at surface and diffusion constant. Okay, and x and t. X is the depth, distance from surface. Okay, and d is your diffusion constant for that dopant, and t is diffusion time, for how long you have allowed the diffusion. Okay, and in this parameter under root dt is called as diffusion length. Okay, okay, and then there is another concept which is called as total number of dopants and atoms per unit area. Okay, if we have to find out the total number of dopants per unit area, okay, after the constant source diffusion, then what we have to do is that basically we have to integrate our concentration function with respect to depth from 0 to infinity. Okay, so this way we can find out the total number of dopant atoms per unit area, okay, of semiconductor. Okay, now let us see how does our uh, dopant profile will look like. Okay, so what happens if you see that this is how your normalized complementary error function will look like. Okay, and this is how your dopant profile will be, doping profile. Okay, so as you see that this is the curve. Okay, so this is basically C by CS versus distance x. Distance x, by distance x, what we mean is distance from surface, and that we call as depth. Okay, so this is normalized concentration versus depth. Okay, so you can note that as the time increases, okay, your concentration at surface is constant. Okay, you will find that for all time values, okay, your concentration is constant at CS. Okay, and as time increases, what happens that as the time increases, these are the curve for increasing t. Okay, time is increasing, Okay, as time increases, your amount of doping at each depth value increases. Okay, so for example, if you see that for a small time value at this place, the dopant profile ended here. Okay, and if you look at these points, there is no doping. Okay, but when you apply for sufficient time, okay, so dopants will basically, uh, let's say, initially dopants have reached only this point. Okay, till T1 point. Okay, but if you allow for longer time, what will happen? That dopant will reach even deeper depths. Okay, so this is the curve for second case. Okay, for second case, this will be the picture. Okay, now if you allow for even longer time, so more dopants are entering from the surface and more diffusion is taking place. Okay, so you will see that dopants have reached even deeper depths. Okay, like this. Okay, so then curve will be this third one. This will be the curve. Okay, so this is the curve, third curve. Okay, and this much you may have for second curve. Okay, and let's take it, this much was for only one. Okay, so you have curve number 1, curve number 2, curve number 3. Okay, so this way your dopants will be distributing inside the silicon. And okay, and at top you have got this phosphorosilica glass. Okay, this is your phosphorosilica glass. Okay, so this is how your dopant profile will look like for different values of time when we have got constant source diffusion. Okay, so what constant source diffusion means? Constant source diffusion basically is synonymous with, okay, okay, is means pre-deposition step. Okay, this is like pre-deposition step. Okay, when dopant source, dopant source, okay, for example, PSG or BSG is always present at the top of surface. Okay, okay. So and second highlight is that in this case, when you solve the fixed diffusion equation, okay, what we get is complementary error function type. Okay, doping profile. Okay, so this is with this constant source diffusion. Okay, is done. Okay, now we will go to second case. Okay, where we can have we have different scene. Okay, so let's clear all these annotations and move to the next. Okay, I think okay. Now second case is called as constant total dopant diffusion. Okay, constant total dopant diffusion. Okay, which is also called as limited source diffusion. Okay, why it is called as limited source diffusion? It is because during the diffusion process we are not allowing fresh dopants to or new dopant atoms to enter the volume. Okay, so if we have just I'm looking for some empty space here. Okay, okay, no issue. I will just open whiteboard. Okay, so second category of diffusion is diffusion is constant dopant. Okay, constant, not constant source but constant dopant. Okay, what it constant dopant means, that total dopant. Okay, total number of dopant is constant. Okay, or uh, you will find that this is also called as limited source. Okay, let's put it, or limited source diffusion. Okay, in this case what happens that let's this is our silicon substrate. Okay, and initially what we did that we had our PSG over it, or dopant source over it. Okay, and we allowed phosphorus to get into the substrate. Okay, okay, there are phosphorus atoms everywhere. Okay, something like this, phosphorus is present. Okay, so we have allowed phosphorus to enter the substrate, but next what we do is we basically we have removed the this phosphorus silica glass or source of dopant source from the top. Okay, okay, as we have removed the dopant source from the top. Okay, so when we have removed the dopant source. Okay, so now we are not getting any new dopants from the top surface. Okay, so whatever dopants we have available inside the substrate. Okay, these dopants only will take part in the diffusion. Okay, so if you have to mathematically model these things. Okay, so we can write, for example, that now what is happening, that we can write that at surface we are not getting any new dopant. Okay, okay, and then the total dopants, which was your integration from 0 to infinity and c of x comma t with respect to dx, this is also constant. This is also constant. Okay, okay, so now if you have for diffusion and you apply some temperature. Okay, if you allow some temperature. Okay, so what will happen if you give some temperature and you allow diffusion? So what will happen, that these dopant atoms, will basically diffuse even deeper into the substrate. Okay, so when these diffuse deeper into the substrate, so you will see that doping will basically be even go deeper. Okay, and when this happens, you will see that at the depth your doping will uh, start increasing. Okay, but because these dopants are coming from the top, so at the top you will find that your doping is uh, basically decreasing. Okay, ultimately this doping will be happening till the point if you allow for sufficiently long time. Okay, so this doping will take place. Okay, this doping, this diffusion, sorry, not doping, but this diffusion will keep on happening until the dopant concentration is equal everywhere. Okay. So this type of diffusion is called as limited source diffusion. Okay. And if you recall from previous lecture, we called such diffusion as drive-in diffusion, okay, or drive-in step, okay, drive-in step, okay. So basically, if you summarize this constant dopant or limited source diffusion, okay, this limited source diffusion case is basically applicable to your drive-in step of the uh, doping, okay. So I will finish this lecture at this point, and we will discuss limited source diffusion or this driving step further in the next lecture.